Families and couples are going to go through a lot of stress when
Yes.
the economy turns down. What advice would you give them to maintain strong relationships during troubled times?
You're in the same boat, but when the economy is bad, we do crazy things as you already know. We're in say, for example, if you're married, you're in a small boat, but you're so upset because your husband or wife is drilling a hole by just buying expensive cosmetics or just going out, hanging around with your friends. And they'll tell each other, you cannot do that. You're just ruining our financial boat. So and you're drilling down the boat and say, oh, it's just $30, $100. No, you're drilling the boat. It's gonna we're gonna get a lot of water from if you just keep drilling. No, you're drilling bigger holes. So just you have to remember you're in the same boat and you have to cooperate one another. But oftentimes you start blaming one another for doing things wrong. Instead, you have to realize you're in this together, and then you have to go through. To do that, you have to sort of cut yourself and get all the extra fat out of your life, which could be the second home or more expensive cars or whatever the fancy stuff you have in your house. You have to keep letting go of stuff to get to get going. So going time is harder.
One of the reasons why we fight about money is because money is an expression of the values that we were raised with and the experiences we had when we were kids. And by definition, everybody comes to marriage with different values and different experiences.
Yes.
What are some of the things that the narratives or the stories around what we brought to the marriage from our youth? What are some of the themes we should look out for and be respectful of in our partners?
I do a lot of fun exercise or couple counselings in front of 1,000 people.
That's got to be stressful for them.
This is so juicy, whoever wants to, come up with to the stage. So the other day, there's a couple, and she said, Ken, I'm here. So for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to decide if I'm going to get a divorce with him or not. I'm like, oh, what?
That's a lot of pressure.
They're on a stage. And then, usually just, she talks about certain things, always complaining about, one another. And guys and women, we think differently. So certain cost can be justified, like guys complaining that the cosmetics that is supposed to take off all the wrinkles, they're not doing anything, but it's like $150, stuff like that. So it's very brutal attack. And I just tell them, hold on, be quiet. Who's telling that? And who's telling that? And they realize in a matter of minutes that it's not them. It's about their parents saying. So it's almost like a proxy war. It's this family, and this family comes from a wealthy family. This wife comes from a poor background. So she felt like a Cinderella when they got married. So she was super happy. But this guy comes from a wealthy background, but he's very stingy in her eyes. So Cinderella was complaining that her princess doesn't allow certain life expenses. So, there's this fight between two families. And there's a lot of shame and guilt about where they come from. So I asked them to talk about the shame and embarrassment with each other and also with your own family. And she said, I feel so ashamed of my background. My parents were poor. So I was always afraid in front of your parents, parents-in-laws, that I may be looked down because I come from poor background. So they cried, they hugged, and they decided not to get divorced. But if you can really let it out, let all the shame out and the guilt out of your system, you can have a strong bond. But you have to be courageous to do that. It takes a lot of courage. It's almost like taking off your clothes, and it's so embarrassing for some people. But unless you spit it out. What kind of fear, anxiety, and guilt and shame around money? You cannot really connect with your partner or friends. So I hope you do that with your best friends at least, because American friends, I really respect the friendship so much, but somehow around the money issues, American best friends don't seem to talk about it. So do that.
That's true. That's very true.
More bonding. So I assure you, if you're best friends forever, just talk about money. Well, I think you have enough talk about sex. So
I've been best friends with my best friend for 35 years, and the reason our relationship works is because I don't know anything about him.
Yes, in a sense.
That's why it's perfect. It's a perfect male relationship. We have no idea what's going on in each other's head.
Because that way you don't have to feel the competition and all that, right? So, but if you just want to go deeper, talk about that, and still, you don't have to talk about the numbers.
Sure.
Because the feelings are the same.
You mentioned how the woman in this couple had shame because she came from a less well-off financial background. Where does guilt come from? I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic, no longer Catholic, but was raised Catholic. And guilt is a very strong emotion in the family, in the Catholic family tradition. Where does guilt and money get all mixed up?
Yes, this is my forte because, I'm a Japanese, but I went to a Jesuit school. So
okay.
I know.
There you go.
I know what guilt is all about, and in a fun way. So guilt does certain things, and guilt makes you small, and guilt makes you hide, and guilt makes you shameful. And those things are what guilt does. So she felt small in front of him, her husband, and also her in-laws. So she cannot really feel herself as she is. So unless you deal with guilt, you may and the guilt always draws attack or violence in some ways. Guilt pulls out the violent side of you. So either you punish yourself by saying you're bad, or you attack the people around you with the guilt because you don't want to hold the guilt. So you want to let go of the guilt. So either spank you or spank others.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I have made some money and I feel like I don't deserve, or I do deserve to have it, but I don't deserve to spend it. That's where guilt comes from.
Yes, exactly. So guilt-free money is such an important part of happy money that I teach about. Otherwise, if you have guilt, you cannot enjoy life.